I now call the September 17th, 2024 Financial Committee meeting starting at 6:45. Chair would entertain a motion for the approval of claims.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the consideration of claims to be paid in the amount of $1,143,649.79. Manual check in the amount of $3,100. Payroll and liabilities for 9/6 of 2024 in the amount of $222,808.19 for a total of $1,369,557.98.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions on any of the claims? Any discussion?
I have nothing, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Is there anything additional that the committee needs to review, discuss? Mia?
Your Honor, the only thing that I would mention is on page 1. It's the second item listed. It's a check for 71 Construction for $100,719.69, and that is for the final retainage for the major and college improvement project, and that will be mailed out later this week.
Has anybody driven on College View recently? That's a great improvement. There's a lot of traffic that heads on College View up US 26 and to the hospital for the ambulance and down Sunset, but it certainly makes it a nicer road. And if we don't maintain our roads,
We're in trouble.
we're in trouble because of the severe winters that do occasionally beset this part of the country. There is no additional discussion other than what Mia had. Then we'll adjourn this at 6:47.
Call the September 17th, 2024 regular meeting of the Riverton City Council to order at 7 p.m. Council member, I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, after which Councilman Mike Bailey will give us the invocation. If you could all please rise and remove your hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dearest Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings that we all enjoy, the ability to live here in this beautiful city of Riverton in the state of Wyoming, in the wonderful United States. Please bless all of us as we go about the business of the city tonight. We will make good decisions and that we will be open to all the information that we can to make the best decision possible for the citizens. Please bless us all that we will be safe as we travel home after the meeting. Please bless all of our police, emergency responders, firemen, paramedics, and all of those that put their lives at risk helping all of us. We ask you to bless all of us in the name of your beloved Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right, Administrative Services Director, Ms. Harris, if you could please conduct the roll call.
Yes, Your Honor. Councilmember Dean Peranto.
Absent.
Councilmember Lindsey Cox.
Absent.
Councilmember Mike Bailey.
Here.
Councilmember Carla Borders.
Here.
Councilmember Kyle Larson.
Here.
Councilmember Christy Salisbury. Here. Mayor Tim Hancock.
I'm here. I'd entertain a motion to excuse Councilwoman Lindsey Cox and Councilman Dean Peranto from tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman Bailey. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. I declare we have a quorum. I'd entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bailey with the motion, Councilman Larson with the second. Any discussion, amendments, additions, subtractions? Nope. Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. Introduction and oath of office. Patrol officers and dispatchers. Police chief's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tonight's going to actually take a few minutes as we go through our list of new hires. First, we've been working with Human Resources and are actively recruiting to fill our vacant positions. We currently have, we did have 2 vacant dispatch positions, and tonight we'll be filling one of those, and as well as bringing on board 2 police officers. At this time, I'd like to ask Chair Laird to please come forward. Your Honor and Counsel, tonight I'm introducing Trey. He was born and raised in Lander. He's moved around the county, and he is a graduate of Lander High School. He enjoyed soccer, and he's a dog dad with his puppy Kai. He has experience working for another dispatch organization in the county. Has decided to move over to our dispatch center here in Riverton. And at this time, I would ask his mother, Crystal, to please come forward and pin her son, Trey. He didn't flinch. That's a good sign. Congratulations. Please stay up here while we get our next officer. Our staff will be now ask for Kendall Kramer. Please step forward. Kendall, as you remember, was sworn in as a community service officer within the last few months. He is tested and is being promoted to police officer tonight. Kendall was born and raised in Riverton, graduated from Riverton High School, and he's done everything from selling cars and also assisting motorists on the side of the road. So he worked for one of the tow services. He has progressed pretty steadily in the community service officer program, expressed interest into promoting as a police officer, and he does a good job for the city already, and at this time we'd like to promote him to police officer, and I'd like to ask his fiancee Hannah to please do the honors. Congratulations. And next would ask Emily Ayers to please step forward. Emily grew up in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. Her family moved to Laramie, and she enjoyed doing a lot of shooting competition in high school and college. She had gone out and worked as an EMT, an advanced EMT, where she served here in Fremont County for 5 years. She's went to the Wyoming Law Enforcement Academy for Detention Officer Basic several years ago, and she tied for first place for best shot. She enjoys hunting, kayaking, horseback riding. She enjoys horseback riding when her horse does not step on her foot. Tonight I ask Sergeant Trent Moss of Lander PD to please step forward and pin Emily. Congratulations. Now, Your Honor, I ask if you can minister the oath of office to our 3 new members.
All right.
Yippee skippy.
You're going to sign. Got it? I'm going to say I want you to say your name, right? I'm going to say I, leave a break, and then you say. Okay? So please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I, Kendall Kramer,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
that I have not knowingly violated any law
that I have not knowingly violated any law
related to my appointment
related to my appointment
or caused it to be done by others,
or caused it to be done by others,
that I will discharge the duties of my office
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Nice job. Actually, why don't you go ahead around and shake hands? We're not just- It'll take me a minute. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good work. Thank you.
right here.
I'll give it back sometime.
Okay. All right, before you all disappear, I want to see, so who is here for Kendall Kramer? We're going to have a competition and see who brought the most family, because this is a lot of people. All right, well, thank you for being here. All right, then for Trey Laird, who's here for him? Appreciate you guys, thank you. All right, and then who's here for Officer Moss? The best officer. It's a lot of hard work to be an officer, and it's a lot of stress and anxiety, I think, for family members of officers. So I guess I would just note, I understand that, and I appreciate you being here to support them, and especially for moms being willing to have, have your kids go and do these things that really are a great service to the community. I think that's amazing. So, and I really appreciate Officer Moss, because we already had an Officer Moss, well, now Sergeant Moss, right? Over in the Lander Police Department. So we can now say we have the best Moss. Riverton Police Department. He heard me say that already, so I don't know. I think Probation and Parole has a pretty good Moss too. So I mean, definitely a family that believes in serving their community, and I appreciate that. Have some good family members and good examples, so thank you. Okay, Council Committee reports, Council Members Roundtable. Why don't we start with you, Councilwoman Borders, since you're by phone.
Okay, sounds good. So I just wanted to report on the Paws and Pearls event that happened a couple weeks ago. Their event this year netted almost $57,000. So that was a very nice event for them to help support what they do, and God knows they need help. So it was a great event. Everybody had a great time, and a lot of money was raised, and good food was eaten, and it was a great night. So other than that, that's all I've got tonight.
Well, thank you, Councilwoman Borders. I was disappointed that I missed it, but I'm glad you went and represented the city well there.
Thank you.
All right, Councilman Bailey.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did not have any official meetings since we've met last. I was out of town. The Force Committee did meet 2 weeks ago-ish, but I was out of town, could not make that. So again, they are working on projects for next year. So if anybody has any of their streets that they think needs work, the Force Committee is where that process starts. So let the Force Committee know. They will sort of vet all those projects, get them all together, figure out which ones are the highest priority, figure out how much money we have to spend, and try to get as much road fixed as we possibly can. This last year, we've either totally rebuilt or chip sealed or slurry sealed over 8 miles of road in the city of Riverton. But we have 80 miles of road total. So we've got to stay at it, because by the time we get through the circulation, the 8 miles we fix this year, 10 years from now, are going to need some work again. So it's a never-ending job. But that's all I had. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for that report. And I would encourage folks, let's see, it usually is the second Monday of the month. It's here at City Hall at 11 a.m. So if you're wanting to be involved in that process, it's a good place to start. I just spoke with someone the other night who was asking some questions about it, and he said he'd probably show up, so I think that's good. All right, Councilman Larson.
Your Honor, I attended solid waste meeting over in Lander yesterday, and want to report back that the Sandral Scale House site improvement is approximately 87% complete. That is being done by LCI Trucking and Construction. The next project that's under completion is the Lander Transfer Station, and that is approximately 68% complete. And the question was asked, what is the estimated free space that's most important to us? And that won't be until November, but they're figuring 2029 where Lander will be shut down, which means Sandral will be in full effect. That means we'll be hauling garbage to Sandral direct. And rates will be adjusted at that time or raised. The more interesting thing was that we have a contract, Solid Waste District has a contract with the reservation, joint powers of the reservation, which is Shoshone and Arapaho. And unfortunately, one of the sites that they have been paid to maintain has not been maintained, and there is garbage on both sides of the road for 3/4 of a mile, 2 feet deep. And so we wrote a letter to the joint powers, tribal, and to county commission, and also to the EPA, stating that we would no longer pay or enter into a contract until that was taken care of. That's all I have to report, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Councilwoman Salisbury.
Your Honor, the Finance Committee met earlier tonight, and I didn't have any other scheduled committee meetings, but I did enjoy Riverton's homecoming week and homecoming game. It was great right down to the last seconds. And I enjoyed a lot of Riverton youth soccer games over the weekend in Lander, and so I appreciate all the hard work that the people put into our kids and our sports in the community. That's all I have.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, well, City Administrator Butterfield is out. And so it was my understanding, Chief, you've got his report?
Sure. Thank you, Your Honor. Just a few quick items. The EDGE funding application process is opened, and it's going to be open through September 30th. And information on apply is on the city's webpage. For Public Works, the snow blower arrived today for the airport. That was $375,000 project, I think.
Something of that nature, yes.
Yeah, so it was, for refresher, it was 93.75% funded by federal, 3.75 by state, so we only paid 2.5% of that $375,000 project. As mentioned about the homecoming parade, Public Works Department and worked with the police department staff to help coordinate the safety of the homecoming day parade. We don't always recognize the work behind Public Works, behind the scenes, and helping us out. And I just want to say we appreciate all the city staff for helping make sure that the city events are safe. Under community development, we're advertising for a community development clerk and a custodian position. And those positions and application process is on the city's webpage. For our IT, as you remember several months ago, all the public safety answering points, PSAPs, had to migrate to a Motorola voice login system. The nice voice logger system is what it is. And that project is underway. We've been working with AT&T, and this last week we're worked a lot with that. So we're about 95% done. And what that does is, as people call in through 911 or the business lines. It's a way for us to record and get accurate information. So if dispatcher has to play back information, then that information is available. We have an aging system, and this will bring us up to speed with that. Also, IT has been working with our dispatch center to get us through the criminal justice information system, the CJIS audit. That is our system that we access police records throughout the state. So they're helping out with that. This week also, IT, the city and circuit court, we've been working to get our e-citation software built. It was also a capital expense project where we're trying to get the 1980s of handwriting citations, get us a little modern. So the workload on both the police staff, dispatch staff, our records department, as well as the back end for the court system, it does take a lot of time to process each citation. On the average, we can see anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 traffic and criminal citations that are handwritten each year. And this will basically get us to an automated system. And from what I've been told, it will cut down tremendously. An officer may take 20 or 30 minutes to handwrite a citation, and it'll take another 20 or 30 minutes for our admin staff and court staff to try to read the officer's handwriting. So about 20 to 30 minutes on top of that. So it should cut down on a lot of time on all the way through the process. As we've done tonight, we've sworn in additional officers and dispatchers. That brings us up to 24 sworn on the department. Leave 4 vacancies, and we still have 3 applicants going through backgrounds, and also 1 dispatcher applicant going through backgrounds. And this last week, we started getting chatter from other agencies who may be interested in lateraling over to our police department. And the last couple things, Officer Don Nathapara is been away in Cheyenne and will be completing his called Drug Recognition Expert Certification. So he'll be one of the few in the county certified as a DRE, and he'll be completing that in October. And Bhagya, Detective Bhagya Nathapara was just awarded a scholarship for FLETC, Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, where they'll pay for school, lodging, for the advanced interview and interrogation. And that completes Mr. Butterfield's report.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. A couple of things I have to report on. I had a phone call just recently from a citizen, and he, speaking of Public Works, and I think we should do as much talking good things about Public Works when Brian's not here. So anyway, he was expressing his appreciation for Public Works and his appreciation for the recent work that was done on Major. He says he's pretty familiar with diamonds that have been put in around the county, and he thought that 71 Construction had made some of the best diamonds he had seen. I had to agree. I mean, I've seen some diamonds that are kind of a little haphazard, lower than the rest of the road or whatever, and I thought they did quite well, and so he definitely wanted to express his appreciation for Brian as well, and said that if they're ever out there working, if there's any of the Public Works crews out there working, he tries to go bring them a lemonade or something, and they're usually appreciative. I think he said always appreciative, but I won't add. Then I had an opportunity to attend a tree inventory, which I've never done a tree inventory, and it was with the master gardeners and some other folks that actually can tell the difference between trees. And so basically what we had to do was look at some trees in City Park, identify for the most part what type of tree they are, what species that is. I can tell you if it's needle-bearing or leaf-bearing. That's about as far as I can go. But I learned, and I can now identify a cottonwood, which I had a cottonwood in front of my house, so I probably could have anyway. And, well, a few others. I won't bore everybody. But it was a lot of fun, and it's part of what had been a grant that had been given to the city, and that we're receiving some help with fire. What's the name of the organization that's doing it?
Forest Service,
What is it?
U.S. Forest Service.
Well, that's the grant, but what's the business that's helping us with the inventory?
Flaming limb, I believe, flaming tree.
Flaming tree, which is something you don't want. Why would
No.
you name it that? Anyway, Flaming Tree Solutions.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess maybe not to have a flaming tree. Anyway, good group of people, the Schroyers, and appreciated their hard work. And so we did things like measuring the trees, determining what condition they were in, that sort of thing. And so they're doing an inventory of the trees that are in city limits, in our parks and that sort of thing, and trying to get an idea, do they need to be removed? Do they need to be trimmed? What's going on? And so we identified a couple of trees that had the beginnings of some disease, one that was flagged for removal and that sort of thing. So very good to have them, and appreciate their hard work in trying to improve our canopy. Also had the opportunity to attend the Fiber Arts Guild, I guess for lack of a better word. So fiber arts, that's wool, all those sorts of things, yarn. Very interesting. I was able to attend. They had something this last weekend. They had like an Angora rabbit there that my son held and wouldn't let go of because he's like, it's like you're holding a cloud, which was very funny, very, very soft fur. But it was very fun, and appreciated them bringing folks into town from all over. We had some folks over there from Colorado, other states, other communities within the state of Wyoming as well. So it was a good opportunity to attend there. And the last thing that I attended, we had a presentation from the Fremont County Archaeological Society about Heart Mountain. For folks that are familiar with that, it was a Japanese ancestry detention area. During World War II, there had been concern about those of Japanese ancestry living on coastal areas, and so they would relocate them to different areas within the country. And one of them was just here outside of, right between Powell and Cody, and right outside of Heart Mountain. Had a daughter of one of the folks that had been there, and she spoke very powerfully about it, and I appreciated her sharing her story, her parents' story. And, you know, one of the things that, that was really powerful about it, I think, was the idea that we would let things get that far, right? Where we would just have that sort of abject, very obvious racism, and just, people just let it go. And they were like, oh, well, yeah, clearly, this is a good idea. I really appreciated listening to her, and I appreciated it because one of her mother actually was supposed to go to Heart Mountain, and there was an employer of hers that actually stood up for her and said, no, I need her, and was able to keep her from having to go. And so it was helpful to see that, you know, sometimes people don't stand up and say, hey, this is wrong, and sometimes they do. So I really appreciated hearing that, and hearing that we have some people that are willing to step up and help others. Anyway, so that's it from my comments. Communication from the floor. This would be an opportunity for citizens' comments. If you're wanting to speak about an item that's already on the agenda, and you can give me a minute, I'll give my spiel, and then you can stand up and you can be first, okay? You're good to go. So if you're wanting to speak about an item that's already on the agenda that's set for a public hearing, we'll make sure that you have that opportunity. If there's another item on the agenda that you want to speak about, if you try to catch my attention, we'll usually let people from the audience speak on these things as they come up. Maybe we're a little bit more informal than other places, but I do think it helps to be able to get feedback, and frankly, it's helped us get some pretty good ordinances and ideas going, and I've appreciated it. So So if you do want to speak during an agenda item, get my attention, and I could recognize you in either event, I'd ask you to keep your comments to 5 minutes. If you're a part of a group, you can split up 10 minutes between the different members of your group. But for individuals, if you could keep your comments to 5 minutes. It may sound a little formal, but it does help keep decorum and keep things organized. But I'd ask you to address all comments or questions to me. Even if someone asks you something, address it to me, but then the person that you speak to could also address it too. I'd ask you to keep things to the issue under consideration. So if it's something that we're talking about that's an agenda item, try to keep it to that agenda item. I'd also ask you to refrain from the use of indecent or obscene language, fighting words, disruptive language. I'd ask you also to refrain from making comments of a personal nature that reflect upon the character or conduct of another person. But anyway, that's a long spiel. But if there's anyone who wants to speak, come on up and just tell us your name and the organization you're with, and we'd love to hear from you.
Hi, my name is Taylor Anderson, and I'm the secretary of the Bermanite Riders 4-H Club and a member of the middle school FFA club.
My name is Easton Becken, and I'm the treasurer of the Bermanite Riders 4-H Club, and I'm also a member of the middle school FFA.
I'm Danny Santee. I'm the president of the Bermanite Riders 4-H Club and the vice president of the Riverton High School FFA chapter. Oh, sorry.
We're asking permission to put up 4-H flags and FFA flags down Main Street for 4-H National 4-H Week, which is October 7th through the 12th.
And for FFA week, which is
The dates are wrong. It's 7th. 6th.
which is for 4-H and FFA week, which is the 6th through 24th. And for
Through the 24th of October?
Of February.
February. Oh, okay.
And for Fair Week, which is the 23rd through the 23rd of July through the 2nd of August.
All right, so February 6th to 24th and July 22nd through the August 6th.
And also October 7th through the 12th for 4-H week. So we have 3 different weeks. We have 4-H week in October, we have National FFA week in February, and we have Fair Week for August and July.
Okay. All right, sounds good. And then this shorter 4-H gentleman.
Introduce yourself.
My name's Cole Anderson.
I'm assuming that Cole Anderson then is related to Dan, no, not Dan. Sailor Anderson. Sister? All right, and then, we've got another one.
My name's Brindle Becken.
Becken, so you must be related to Easton then. Well, great. You guys also in Burma Night Riders? Awesome. Okay. Do we have anything competing for those dates?
Nope, not to the best of my knowledge, no.
I guess, does anybody on the council have an issue with that?
Your Honor, we have had a history of supporting that.
I agree.
You'll probably have to remind us.
Yeah, I was going to say, it might not be a bad idea to call the week before and just remind them and make sure that we haven't double booked ourselves for flags or anything. I'm trying to think if there's any, I don't think there's anything where we'd have American flags out during those times.
No, we don't.
So,
And then I also have a proclamation would like you guys to all sign for just like claiming that National 4-H Week is a thing in Fremont County. Also.
we can do that. So that's going to be October 7th through 12th.
Yes.
Okay. So what we can do and what we tend to do with this, I like this. This is something for everybody to sign. Okay. Anybody have a problem with signing this?
Hello.
Okay, I think we'll be okay. I'll read it. How does that sound? So everybody knows what we got going on. Whereas 4-H youth across the nation are leading efforts to solve problems in their communities and make a difference for their future. Whereas 4-H is one of the largest youth development organizations in Wyoming and the largest in the nation with over 7 million young people, of which we have 5, I miscounted. Whereas 4-H in Wyoming claims 7,109 youth members, 1,482 adult volunteers, while Fremont County's 4-H program numbers more than 460 members and more than 95 volunteers, whereas 4-H as part of the University of Wyoming Extension is a program where youth learn through opportunities that provide them hands-on experiences in 4-H's mission, mandates of science, engineering and technology, healthy living, and citizenship. Whereas research continues to prove that young people that are involved in 4-H are twice as likely to plan to attend college, more likely to avoid risky behaviors, more likely to contribute to their communities, and more involved in leadership roles for their future than those not engaged in 4-H. Now, therefore, I like this. Don't often have everybody sign. Dean Peranto, Kyle Larson, Christy Salisbury, Carla Borders, Mike Bailey, Lindsey Cox, and Tim Hancock, members of the City Council, Riverton City Council and Mayor, do hereby proclaim October 6th through 12th, 2024 as National 4-H Week in Fremont County. We urge the people of this community to take advantage of the opportunity to become more aware of this special program that enhances our young people's interest in their futures as part of Fremont County 4-H youth development, and join us in recognizing the unique partnership between our county and our state university system. All right, well, I'm going to sign that. Then I will pass it around here, and then if it's okay, we'll hold on to it until we get Dean and Carla's and Lindsay's signature, and then we'll get it back to you, okay?
Thank you.
All right. That sounds great. Thank you. Anything else?
Should be it. Thank you.
Oh, that was a lot. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie Nez, and most of the people I have with me are part of the Riverton High School's NHS organization, or the National Honor Society. And we have been led here to ask for some help because we are wanting to restart a project called Wolverines in Action. And it's where some of your children may have participated in this, where they all participate in one big community service activity. It's a school-wide, entire school gets involved in it. An entire day, preferably a half day of school is dedicated with helping the community, going to visit other people, and so on. As an organization of the National Honor Society, we have a duty to help others, and helping through the community happens to be in the top of our list of duties taking place. And many other activities have like jobs that they go around in the school. FCCLA goes to do the highway cleanup, and even like FFA goes to do things. But we have yet to get set in place an activity of our own. And so we have been led to ask for help about how we can serve you and how to better the community. Because we have ideas, but none of them have been set in place.
Sounds good. And then who do you have with you, Mackenzie?
My name is Ayana Mejorado, and I am the National Honor Society Riverton Chapter President.
And then, yes, go ahead.
My name is Adriana Potter. I'm just a member.
Just a member, huh?
Yeah, she kind of underplays it, but yeah.
And you look a little bit like somebody I've seen before. Any relation?
Won't even look at you.
I don't know that guy. I'm sorry. I don't know who he is. I'm sorry. Looks familiar. So.
Okay. Well, you just organized a community cleanup, or your wife did, I should say. June did.
My wife did all the work, yes.
You did all the work. Did you have any areas that maybe could have used some additional help?
I think there's always areas, so I think a community cleanup project would be a great one. There's lots of areas, we hit a lot of areas when we did the one here a month or so ago, but there's a lot of areas left. And even the areas that we cleaned up already have some trash blowing in and all that kind of stuff. So I think it could be done multiple times a year and by lots of different people in lots of different areas. So I think that would be a good one.
Yeah. Do you have any specific areas? Because we have to send classes and even groups of students to specific areas, and we need to know exactly where they're going as a as a precaution for safety.
Yeah. My wife has an extensive list, and I will definitely work on that.
That would be helpful.
That to you. And I will get her in touch with you guys. And so, yes, there's, the higher traffic areas of the community are the most obvious. So I think, just need to get together and put together a list, and you guys can pick some ones that fit what what your needs are. And I think anytime that would be a awesome help to the community.
Perfect. Okay.
Another thought would be, I don't know if there's any areas where there's weeds that maybe individuals haven't taken care of, maybe because they're unable or whatever. Mike Miller over there in the kind of green and white shirt with the glasses, he's our Community Development Department Director. He's the master of all things weedy. And you could speak to him. He might have some ideas. I know that, for example, we try to stay on top of weed enforcement and let people know, hey, you got to take care of your weeds. But if it's somebody who doesn't have the ability to do it, might be helpful to have some younger folks get out there and assist.
Yeah.
Another area you could probably consider, if it's not on the list from Mrs. Bailey, would be the Rails to Trails. Often kind of gets a little bit beat up and just going along there. I know Rebecca Schatza, our former council member, used to do that quite a bit. Had a group they called Kicking Trash, and they'd hit the Rails to Trails, they'd hit some other areas, but I don't know if anybody's hit the Rails to Trails much lately.
We didn't on the project.
So that might be a good idea too. Councilman Larson?
Anywhere from the bridge exiting Riverton back to Bailey's gas station, both sides always has an enriched value of memorabilia that has been discarded.
Trash, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
So those are some ideas. I would encourage you, if you would like, definitely can get a hold of Mr. Miller, can also get a hold of Mr. Butterfield, our city administrator. He's out of town today, but you can just call the main number for the city, 856-2227, and you can ask for either of them, let them know who you are and what you're looking for.
She has an inside source to numbers.
I knew that, yeah.
This is my granddaughter.
She didn't like that I thought she looked like you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just kidding. He knows that. He loves me.
Honored.
I don't know if there's anything for Mr. Adcock, if there's vehicle maintenance, you big into vehicle maintenance?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay.
Riverwalk, places like that's also very important, that we address from time to time.
I would also say another thought would be the Girl Scouts, if you're willing to kind of work with them a little bit. They're working on getting improvements to the dog park. They're getting kind of an agility course there, and they're putting that in. They're doing it a little bit at a time, but might be worthwhile to do a shot in the arm there for them. So if that's not enough ideas, you've also got people in the audience that might be trying to grab you afterwards and give you ideas. But
Yeah. But this is a really good start, though. Thank you.
thank you. Great job, and thanks for coming in. Appreciate all of you being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pro. If you could tell me your name and...
My name is Jose Pro. This is Cesar Chavez, Alma, and his wife over there. The reason we're here today at this meeting is because we are tired of the police department of Riverton deciding who they want to take care of when we also pay taxes. And we have called multiple times on several causes of injustice that's going on in our community over there where we live. And we have no action to it. We get told that we can't get in our own property, even though it becomes a civil matter, they say, and we've gone through all the logistics of the civil matter. We see the police officers choose and pick who they want to help. in the city of Riverton. Kind of tired of it. Either we help everybody or we don't help anybody at all and get off the force. Because it is to be a protect and serve for everybody, not who they decide to protect and serve. Now, Mr. Palma here, he speaks somewhat English. Not the best, but he's here. And when I was there, and we called in for a break and entry today at his shop, one of the police officers there, I don't remember his name, it starts with an L, told his other partner that I spoke too much. The reason I speak too much is because if you don't speak, you don't get heard. We're just fed up of it. We just can't understand why a different color of people can't get the same help as a white person here. Why don't we have more majority people that can speak different languages? I speak 6. How many do you speak?
Me?
Yeah.
3.
See? So we're pretty good. But if there's a lack of communication and speech and you can't understand the other gentleman, how are you going to help them? You know, we need to find some kind of diversity where the police department is willing to help us. Not because of the color of our skin, but because we are citizens of Riverton. And if you choose just to help the white people, then we have issues. Now, I've said it before, and I've said it again, and I will say it again. If you cannot do your job, step out. Let somebody else do it. And I'm not talking about you, Mayor, but I'm talking about in a situation where the police force comes in. If you can't govern and take care of people that need to be taken care of, that we pay their, salaries, then, we have problems. And Mr. Palma's here, and we have pictures of how his whole house and his whole place has just gone to hell because nobody's willing to help. They told him he can't even come onto his property. So his shop gets broken into. His tools get stolen. This is from the police of Riverton. If you can't come into your own property, then you have issues. You're not renting the shop. You're renting a trailer next door. He has a right to go into his own shop and work on his vehicle and work on his things that he needs to fix. He's got multiple areas that he rents out. So I didn't understand why that was told to him. And then he was threatened that if he goes in there and they call him, that he's going to get arrested. This is a man that owns his own property. So we need to figure out what we can do about it because, again, come time to vote, there's going to be a lot of things turning around. And we're going to be picketing the police. As we already know, we have bad cops here. All right? We already know there's been discrimination lawsuits. We already know you got a cop here that was buying drugs off the dark web. This is all news, old news, but it still matters because that reflects on the Riverton Police Department. And it shows us that you guys ain't doing a hell of a good job in taking care of us. If we have to turn to different matters to take care of our own property, my wife was in her home when the neighbor in the back the neighbor across from me decided to go ahead and turn my yard on fire. We have oxygen tanks. My wife is crippled on oxygen. That was a life danger, and he admitted to me, and yet we have nothing done about it. This is the Riverton Police Department that will not help a minority. I want something done about it, and I want it in the records. That if the chief can't do his job, he needs to leave. We need to find somebody that can do the job. And if you can't govern your people and understand that if there's no color in protect and serve, it's all equal, and you need to weed out the bad people in your police department. I'm sorry to say it's small as it is, but there is a problem there.
I appreciate your concern, Mr. Pro, and I appreciate you calling me earlier and telling me a little bit about some of it too. one thing I will tell you is maybe the media kind of has this idea that it's okay or popular or somehow will get traction to accuse folks of racism. But unless you're really coming here with some hard evidence.
I got hard evidence. Oh, yeah, I definitely got hard evidence, and I got it on the camera right now if you want to have it.
But my point is, officers are meant, they have a lot that goes into their job. And a decision not to act on something does not always have to, well, I doubt it has anything to do with race for them. And so saying that you feel like it's having to do with something to do with race, now hold on a second.
Go ahead.
I had you speak without any interruption.
That's correct. Go ahead.
But saying that it has anything to do with race feels like a stretch to me. And I guess what I would encourage you to do is to speak to the chief about it. And I know you already have, and you've started that discussion. The other thing I would encourage you to do is realize we have a lot of officers, and they are taking a lot of different areas. And they cannot, just flat out cannot work every single instance of a crime in the city of Riverton. Somebody speeds, they're not going to be able to pull over every speeder. Somebody does something else, they're not going to be able to enforce every single infraction. And it's just a function of the numbers. So they've got to be able to make some tough decisions, and I can guarantee you that they're hard decisions that they have to make every day. But I hear what you're saying. I guess what I would tell you, though, is that's a pretty serious accusation to make, and I would encourage you to really make sure before those kinds of things get thrown around that there's information other than just they didn't work a case that I wanted them to, or they didn't do what I wanted them to.
Oh, yeah.
So and I don't mind having a conversation with you offline, and I'll sit down and talk to you. I'll see whatever you've got there. I don't mind that at all, Mr. Pro. But coming here to this kind of a meeting and trying to disgrace or throw mud at the police officers, I don't have a lot of patience for.
I understand that. But again, it's not me. I have other people that can come. It's not, that's what I'm saying. You only see me come to the meetings, but these people work. They get up early in the morning. You know what I'm saying? I take care of my wife. But yes, we do have more than one person to speak of this situation.
I appreciate that. But I'm telling you that we have a very hardworking police department, and trying to sit there and throw things out like that with very small things that you're talking about for it.
Right here. It's right here.
That's fine. I'll sit down and look at it. But this is not the forum for that.
No, I understand it, but it's got to get heard, and it's got to be put out there. And I'm not saying that all the police Riverton is bad. I'm just saying we have just a few. I'm not saying that they don't do their job. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them go out and beyond. And I've always said, hey, let them have more money so they can have better homes and better places. I've been one of those people that put out that. But again, there's also parts that are not all the same. And that's what I'm trying to say. We need to weed out that situation.
And I think that being able to sit down and visit with the chief can be helpful for you.
I tried to call him, and I got the runaround.
He's sitting right over there.
Oh,
He'll
yeah.
probably have some time during a break.
You know, but no, we need to do this on camera. We need to do this where it's on the record. Go ahead. Is it? Hmm? Huh?
It's fine.
Oh, just go ahead.
The problem is when I go in my property, you know, I rent it, and I got everything, my contract and everything. When I rent
Can
it,
you come a little closer to the microphone?
when I rent it, my property, I'm making my contract. And the contract is here, give me a chance for going through the trailer, check it out and everything right. You know, when this time, and my property has got a bare floor, you know, the floor here looking nice. And I told you, give me a chance for fixing the floor for looking better, you know. Said, yeah, okay. When I started taking out the floor, he told me, I help to you. You just come for my rent. Say, okay. Give you a chance for help me. when he started putting back the flywheels and everything, he don't know how to do it. And I told him, don't do it no more. I'll do it for myself. When I like it. Say, okay. The next day, I go on the property. He go on my job, you know. And this guy, he's cut out a bunch of flywheels and put them in pieces over here, pieces over there, you know. And I told you, don't do it, please. Oh, this and this. He said, you don't know how. Let me do it. And the next day, when I go back in the trailer, he's taking out all of them. And the cooking, take it out all of them, cabinets, and everything broke. And he's taking out every pieces, and he's put them in the fires. And you don't have nothing no more.
And I understand how frustrating that would be as a landlord. But what you have to understand, I guess, with some of this is there's a difference between when you're renting out property, there's a lot of civil aspects to that that don't involve the police department. And there's remedies that you have that you can take advantage of civilly that can take care of some of that. And the police department can't. So I hear what you're saying in terms of what you've got going on there with your lessee. But some of that is things that need to be taken care of civilly.
Your Honor.
Yes.
So is there not such a thing of destruction of property or any of things that can be cited?
That gets a lot more complicated, especially when you're talking about actually leasing the property from somebody else.
And they can just destroy it without it being a crime?
Well, the reality is it has to be the property of another without the permission of the owner. And if you're leasing the property, you may have the permission of the owner to be using the property, correct? So it gets a little bit complex. But it may be done, but I can understand if the officers don't think that the facts support it. That's my point. So.
I call the police, you know, for making everything right. Or, you know, for everything legal. And I call the police and I let them know. I told you this guy's looking. He started broke my trailer. You know, he just broke the walls. He's taken out everything for inside in the cooking and broken everything. And I told you, look, yeah, I don't got nothing to do.
I hear you. We can talk more about it, and I don't mind that at all. I mean, and I know Jose was saying you have difficulties with English, but seems like you got a pretty good handle on it. So we can sit down and visit, and we can look at it. And I don't mind that at all. If you want to sit down sometime for office hours, and we can kind of figure out where we can go, let's do it, okay?
I mean, he's already put in the $50 for the sheriff to come in and do what they needed to do. They put their papers in
And that's a two-part process, just to be aware. You've got the,
Wednesday.
yep, and then that's the,
But the thing about it is, while he's doing all this, they're robbing him blind.
well, you got, and I understand, Mr. Pro. I get it, but you got to go through the process if you're trying to evict somebody. And the point is, if they're going to do something, you can go after them, and you could get a cash judgment in your favor for anything that they would take that you can prove was taken. I will say, though, I understand wanting to protect your property. I get that. And I think you should be able to do that. And I agree with Councilwoman Salisbury. If they're destroying your property, like you're saying, pulling out the nails or whatever and pulling things off there, that's not okay.
They took the ceiling down,
You got to go through the civil process to get them out and then take care of it that way. That's the reason why you have a lot of landlords that make you pay a pretty significant deposit.
Fact of the matter is that they were already called on, the next door neighbors in the back called on them about fires being put on at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Same one that had caused the fire in your property or a different one?
Same one started
Yeah.
the fire. I had the camera here, and I had the fire and everything here as well.
Well, I'm glad you're getting it done so that you can get them kicked out. That's important. But in terms of what the police officers can do, they're kind of limited. When the person is leasing the property, they have a right to be there. There's a whole area of landlord-tenant law that changes things. So,
But are they leasing where they started the fire? It's a whole different place. I mean, they're out there destroying more than just
yeah.
the rent. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. My neighbors in the back have called it in, we've called it in, they've called it in, and nothing gets done. They just say, oh, well, we have no proof that he started any fire. They don't go back there to look where the fire started. Where?
Okay.
And that's why we're saying, that's why we feel like we are not getting the justice that we do. If it was anybody else, the poor guy that was down the road from us, he got into an altercation with one of the electricians, and he got his kids picked up. He went to jail. But he was another race. How strange is that?
All right.
Your Honor.
Well, I appreciate it, Mr. Pro. And what was your last name again, sir?
Palma.
Padma. Okay.
Your Honor.
P-A-L-M-A.
P-A-M-M-A?
P-A-L-M.
Oh, Palma. Okay, gotcha.
Your Honor.
Mr. Bailey.
Not that it's going to make you feel any better, but I have rentals and I have tenants that destroy the property, and I'm in the same boat as you are. I have to go sue them civilly to get my money, which half the time is a waste of time.
Right.
Okay, and that's, unfortunately, that's just how it works. And it's not a criminal thing, it's a civil, and you can go get a judgment against them, and if they don't have any money, you're still out of luck.
Yes, and we understand that. But the thing about it is when we're calling in about fires, we have a red flag going on.
I understand.
We worry about our whole place is going up on flames,
I get that.
and nothing is being done.
well, and if they're stealing, that's not it. Again, it's
They're a tenant, it's a different thing than,
a tenant can steal from you as long, and
No.
nothing happens.
they have a right to be inside the
No,
property if they're leasing it.
Yeah, the house, but they broke into his shop, which is
Then
next
that's a
door.
different matter, yeah.
And when the guy gave him, when the officers were there today, right, the guy came in and said, oh, well, this is his tools, this is his tools, oh, he didn't borrow. No, the gentleman had already picked up all his tools. We had to cover all the holes where the guy had gone in there and broke into his shop. And yet, the police say, oh, they can do that. They can't.
Well, I don't know all the details, like I told you before, but I don't mind sitting down and talking to you about it, and I appreciate you, Mr. Pro and Mr. Palma, coming in. And like I said, we are limited in things that we can do,
You understand that?
and sometimes it's kind of, and it's so frustrating, right? It makes it hard to be a landlord, because there are a lot of laws that are kind of in favor of tenants, like Mr. Bailey said. And that's good, bad, or indifferent. It is how it is. But we can talk more.
We appreciate your time. And again, we're not saying that all police officers, we're just saying we just got to weed out the ones that are there.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming in.
Much.
Mayor and Council, my name is Julie Buller with the Riverton Chamber and Visitor Center, and I'm just here to give you an update on where we're at. So the memberships continue, and the search for a new ED is on, and we actually started the interview, starting the interview process. We're in the middle of it right now, so hopefully this time next month, I'll be introducing a new ED to you, so Executive Director. We've also changed our monthly board meeting to the fourth Wednesday of every month at 8:30 in the morning. So if anybody would like to attend that, little update on what we've got coming up. I personally sent you guys all out an invite for the after hours event, which will be this Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. at 381 Subs and Salads. And we've got the Boys and Girls Club that are coming to give an update on their new location. So hopefully you guys can come join us for that after hours event. I wanted to recognize these young ladies that were here with the Wolverines in action, because our last after hours was in August up there at Roasted Bean, and we had so many young kids up there that gave presentations in this group. Some of those that gave the presentations, so it was fun to see them here tonight too. They really want to interact and be involved in the community and bringing the businesses together with the students and the council. I just think it's really a good thing that we're starting to see more of. Let's see, Friday, September 27th. 5 to 7 p.m., we're doing a joint event with the Lander Chamber, and it's a Meet the Candidates out at the Riverton Country Club. And that will be more the local specific candidates. I know the city council candidates have all been invited to that. I don't know who all has reciprocated on that yet, but you're invited to come out to that September 27th, 5 p.m. out at the Riverton Country Club. And then on Friday, October 4th, which is the first Friday of every month, that's our next Lunch and Learn. And that will be customer service training with Mike Hoyt with Bootstrap Collaborative. And I don't know about you guys, but I think everybody needs customer service training since COVID. I mean, I remember working at the bank, and that was the only thing that set us apart from the other banks was service. And I don't know if I'm just getting old, but service, I'll pay more for service. So we'll be doing customer service training, and if it has to be consecutive trainings, we'll do consecutive customer service trainings. Let's see, what else have we got coming up? October 7th, 8th, and 9th, I'll be going to Rock Springs representing the Riverton Chamber for the Wyoming Working Together Conference. And hopefully another one of the board members will be going along with me on that. And then also at that, Kevin Kershesnik with ID Inc. and myself have been asked to give a panel discussion about the 1.5% sales tax for Fremont County. So we'll talk about how wonderful that's been for us, and we're going to say how wonderful we hope it's going to be going forward for us too. So Kevin and I have been out giving presentations on that everywhere we can. And last but not least, this is a little bit out there, but I'm going to have you guys save the date for this, because I know last year we had this, and Tim, you had a conflict with this. So the Saturday, October 26th, and I've already given you this date, is the First Responders Appreciation Dinner. And we keep that focused on the first responders. So that'll be on October 26th. If you guys want to come help serve, that'll be in the evening. I don't know if we've set a time, whether it's 5 or 6 p.m., but just save that date. It'll be in that evening time period. So any questions for the chamber? So we're moving and grooving. So thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm adding things to my calendar as you're talking. Thank you, Julie. Anybody else? Oh, good. Administrative Services Director, Ms. Harris, could you please read the consent agenda items by title only?
Yes, Your Honor. Approval of the minutes, September 3rd, 2024, regular council meeting. Approval of the minutes, September 3rd, 2024, executive session. Approval of the minutes, September 17th, 2024, Finance Committee meeting. Approval of the Finance Committee recommendations, September 17th, 2024. Approval of the municipal court report for the month of August, 2024. An open container permit application for Archeria Friday, a birthday party at Sunset Park, September 22nd, 2024, from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Items requiring further discussion. Councilman Larson?
Your Honor, the Finance Committee met this day on 6:45, and we had a motion to pay claims in the amount of $1,143,649.79, manual checks in the amount of $3,100, payable liabilities for September 6th in the amount of $222,808.19 for a total of $1,369,557.98.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bailey with the motion, Councilman Larson with the motion. Switch to a second. Any other discussion?
I'll abstain from the Bailey Enterprises line item on the Finance Committee report.
Okay. Anything else? We still have you there, Councilwoman Borders?
Yes, Your Honor. Sorry, I couldn't unmute my phone.
Oh, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. 0.5% excise tax for economic development, recipient presentation, Riverton Youth Soccer Association. Ms. Harris?
Thank you, Your Honor. On August 18th, 2020, the voters of Fremont County approved the optional 0.5% sales tax for the purpose of economic development. Economic development is defined as any project that retains or increases employment or results in a net gain of money into the community. Since the inception of the tax, the City of Riverton has received over $2.7 million and distributed slightly more than $2.2 million. Tonight, a recipient is here to present the status of their project and how the funding has benefited their organization and the community. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce representative of the Riverton Youth Soccer Association, Josh Saltzgaver.
Mr. Saltzgaver, come on up. You're the next contestant on The Mic is Hot.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. I want to thank you all for having me here. I'll get you guys updated on our project. It's been a very busy summer. As Mia informed you, we were given the $125,000, which was really the thing that got this whole project going. We matched that with $25,000 of our own funds and got the project going with the purchase of the land. I will note that the guards did donate approximately about $250,000 to $300,000 worth of land based on the appraised value of the land, and we kind of hit the ground running. We had to wait on a simple subdivision, which took quite a bit longer than planned. It was, I believe, the end of April before the county commissioners could vote on the simple subdivision to get that approved, and then right after that, the well was drilled, and we started work on our bathroom facility and well house that went in right after that. In June, we got the foundation poured, moved forward with that, and the Job Corps started, I believe it was the third week of June, I believe. Some of the dates are kind of a blur over the summer, but they did take a little longer than planned, but we didn't ever really have a set schedule. It was a learning process. They taught their students as they moved a lot of dirt and really took on one of the bigger projects they've done. And they completed their dirt work. It was kind of late August. They kind of finished their substantial portion of it. And Wind River Landscape Company was awarded the underground sprinkler system and sod. So they started last week with disking and doing kind of the final grading, and we'll be doing a sprinkler system probably in the next 10 days. And by around October 1st, they should be laying sod, and we will have grass down there. And we've so far the project we've been very frugal with everything we've done, and the community has been very, very generous. You know, we've had over $150,000 worth of either donations in cash or just labor donations. Everything from soil, topsoil, and services, trucking, a little bit of everything has went into it, and we wouldn't have been able to do it. We'll have upon completion, we'll have a substantial list and informing the community that how it was possible that this was done, and it was because of donations from business owners, essentially. And another thing I'd like to comment is we were fortunate enough to receive funding from the half-cent from the MOVE committee at the county just recently, and which paid for the underground sewer to get it over near the city main line, and we aren't going to tie into that until next summer. And also helped with some parking lot improvement material, gravel, and also $13,000 in trees, so we can create a windbreak on the west side of the fields and just kind of some beautification for the project.
How much was the amount provided to you by MOVE?
$39,000 and some change. I'm not sure exact dollar figure, but it was just under $40,000.
I'm glad to hear that. That's really good.
They and additionally, I'd like to mention that we have our overall budget is about $505,000 for the whole project, and only $1,000 of that has went out of county. We had to buy some doors and get our building sealed up, and the lead times on everybody kind of locally, we just weren't working because we had some really expensive equipment installed in there. So instead of pulling a piece of plywood off the side of it, every day we went to Casper and got some doors that were in stock. So other than that, we've spent every dime with local contractors, you know, trucking companies, a little bit of everything. So there's a lot of money that's went back into the community, but also a lot of donations.
I hear there's a lot of students that would probably be willing to help you lay sod.
Well, you're right. Fortunately, the way, and this is going to be a really cool process, that when they put the sod down, I believe they're 4 foot by 90 foot rolls.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So they put them on a skid steer and they put them down and they just back up and it just unrolls and.
They are honor students. They maybe could drive a skid steer.
They might be. You're right. So.
Well, I was just thinking, I mean, I'm trying to think of ways we can put them to work, so.
Well, and you know, the final touches on that, you know, we are planning on asking the city for some free mulch, hopefully. And that could be definitely something that would probably need to be hand raked into places to kind of go around the edges. So maybe that's something that we could coordinate and work with the city on.
It'd be something to keep in mind, yeah.
Yeah. And I would like to take that time to thank the city. The city donated a large amount of compost and that we mixed in with the topsoil down there. So I would like to thank the city for that because we weren't charged for that, and it will really help with the long-term quality of the soil down there and make the grass that much better for years to come. So thank you.
Good deal.
It's really looking good down there.
Yeah.
Coming together. It's been, like I said, everything that building, just everything down there has been 100% volunteer. You know, that there hasn't been, it's been moms, dads, kids, former soccer players, you know, that have been down there working on that. So it's a pretty cool thing that we'll have a pretty big presentation, a video of a lot of the donors and pictures of when they were down there and how they helped and who helped and everything. So
maybe we should have you come back once we get the sod in or something. I don't know, just to, I don't know. I think it's really good for folks to be able to see just, it's tax dollars. And that's what I've talked about the whole time with the half-cent funds. And we want to make sure there's that accountability. There's knowing where it's going, feeling comfortable that it's going where we want it to go, where it's been approved to go. I mean, of course, that's an easy question to answer because you have the property, and that's where it was supposed to go, was towards the purchase of property. But also being able to see where it's going and how it's able to be benefiting the community. I think soccer tournaments just bring a lot of people into town, and it's really something that our youth can do. It's something that involves them, and I really appreciate your hard work on it. And I know you're trying to pat a lot of other people on the back, and that's fine and well and good, but you've put a lot of work into that.
Yeah, thank you.
And it shows.
Well, and I guess one comment I would make is throughout the project, it's been amazing how many times one person's, you know, speed bump or problem is another person's solution. You know, we've found the boulders actually. All the boulders that you see down there that will be the kind of the landscape boulders around there and perimeter of our parking area. Those are all boulders that were dug up during projects over in Sinks Canyon at the Alpine Science Institute. Well, they have a massive pile of boulders that they don't know what to do with. And, you know, it's not something that they can start selling, but they can sure donate them. And so we were able to acquire all those just with a couple dads and dump trailers, and it got rid of a problem for them, and it was a solution for us. So
right.
That's been the case for a lot of things. A lot of people, you know, like to help a 501c3 and they can donate something and it's helping kids.
Got it.
It's been very, very rewarding for a lot of different donors.
Well, any questions for Mr. Saltzgaver? Or?
I just have one. Your son played really well in the homecoming football game the other night.
Thank you. He did. He had a great game, and I'm very proud of him.
Anything else?
Good. Looks really good.
Thanks again.
Yeah.
Thank you for your report. And like I said, I certainly wouldn't have any qualms with seeing pictures once the sod gets laid and everything and things start looking more like a soccer field.
The one bug I would like to put in the council's ear is we have not tied into the city sewer, and we are planning on doing that next summer. And we started to fill out the application, but we are hoping that when we get ready to use that facility, that the city would potentially waive the fees, to the tap fees, and maybe even the monthly fees, since it's a seasonal facility that's for the public and children. So
We could talk
that
about
bug
that.
in your ear.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Saltzgaber. All right. Well, that's always good to hear. Appreciate you coming in. Should we get going on this ordinance, or would it be a good time to take a brief break? Why don't we finish this ordinance and we'll take a break before Oscar so that you guys can kind of get set up and ready. Does that sound good? Leave it up to you. That looked like a nod from Pete McCall. All right. Public hearing and consideration ordinance 24006, first reading, jaywalking. Police chief, if you could tell us about this ordinance.
Thank you, Your Honor. The police department has responsibility to enforce local municipal ordinances as relates to the safe movement of traffic and pedestrians while in the city. A response to increased complaints of people crossing roadways in an unsafe manner, the city staff recommends the city adopt language in our local municipal code to address this issue. The proposed ordinance 24006 creates this language and centers on the appropriate use of crosswalks. The ordinance comes after staff has researched state statutes and codes from other municipalities relating to jaywalking offenses. So the proposed ordinance would create the new section for jaywalking in unsafe manner while crossing streets. It requires the pedestrians to yield the right-of-way to vehicles on the roadway and to not suddenly leave the curb or other safe place to walk in the path of a vehicle. Also requires vehicles to yield the right-of-way to a pedestrian who lawfully has already entered the crosswalk, and need for definition of what exactly is the intersection as it relates to this code. Right now, there's no local ordinance. There's some state statute that covers some of the crossing of roadways, but this will help address the issues that, the main ones are those that cross federal unsafely. And we've had quite a few pedestrians struck or almost struck this last year, and we want to save lives. With that, Your Honor, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you. Administrative Services Director, Ms. Harris, could you please read ordinance 24006 by title only?
Yes, Your Honor. Proposed ordinance number 24-006, an ordinance amending Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 10.12, Additional Traffic Regulations, to create Section 10.12.190, Crosswalks of the Riverton Municipal Code, and providing for an effective date.
I'd entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Councilman Bailey with the motion, Councilman Larson with the second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. I declare the public hearing open. Hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes and other applicable laws. I'd ask individuals wishing to address the council to approach the podium. Identify yourself for the record. Is there anyone in the audience who has been just itching to talk about jaywalking tonight?
Seeing none, Your Honor, I would move to close public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman Bailey. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. I declare the public hearing closed. I'd entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 24006 on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Larson with the motion, Councilman Bailey with the second. Stunning turn of events. Any discussion?
What's the fine if you do it?
$1 million.
So we had a discussion, Honor. We had a discussion with the court clerk, and we're looking at the standard violation of $100. So that would be set up through the judge to set, but it'd be around $100 fine.
So I guess just so people know how that works, there's a maximum fine for any ordinance, and that tends to be $750. And then you have what you call the bond amount, so that's the amount that they write on the citation. You could just go and pay that, so you don't have to actually go to court and plead. And so then it sounds like the bond amount would probably be about 100. Okay. Mr. Bailey?
Your Honor, again, I really support this. It's a huge issue, especially on Main and Federal, the high traffic streets. I was driving down there, I think 3 or 4 days ago, and some guy on a bicycle just went ziggy-zagging through traffic, and I was just waiting for him to go flying, and just with no regard to traffic or anything like that, and people walking across the same way. So with that being said, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but to me, the ordinance needs a little more teeth in it, and it's a little bit vague on what a controlled intersection is and what, I don't know if a intersection with a light would be treated differently than an intersection without a light. We sure don't need any loopholes, or do we have to mark the intersections? And there was something in there about it has to be posted that it's not a pedestrian area or something like that. And I guess I don't want us to have 500 signs on every street in town saying you can't cross except at the intersection, but I don't know what the best way to tweak that language is, but.
Your Honor, also in section C on the last sentence, it says until the pedestrian has reached, is that?
I think that's purposeful. No, I'm just kidding. I think you're right. Yeah, I agree, Councilwoman Salisbury. We have a repeat there. Until the pedestrian has reached a place of safety. Feels like it's a little bit of Porky Pig there.
Has too many has and tails.
Yeah. We might want to get that fixed. I imagine that's just a typo.
And I can maybe answer briefly Councilman Bailey's concerns.
Please.
So the way it sits right now, as far as controlled intersections, anything that is marked, controlled by stop sign, signal, and the intersection by definition, and the way it sits now, there's really only a 2-block area in the city that standalone is considered an intersection that would affect this. So what normally does what police agencies and cities can do is based on either a traffic study or the number of crashes or concerns, we can say, Main and Federal from here to Park, we don't want any pedestrians crossing unless they're using a crosswalk. So in that case, we would say, hey, we're now going to post it after X amount of days. We can now enforce it. And then we can actually just put a sign from the beginning to end saying no pedestrian crossing point A to point B, just like you would have in a no parking zone, no parking from here to here. And then that in itself, once it's posted and time given, then the officers can enforce that specific section. Again, based on if there's any accidents, changes in traffic pattern, or traffic surveys done.
Okay, so jaywalking on Bighorn Avenue would not be the same as Federal, Sunset, Broadway, Main, et cetera?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
If our police officers are constantly receiving phone calls and investigating break-ins of garages, how are we going to enforce the speeding laws, the jaywalk laws, the engine braking laws in noise when they're off investigating civil matters versus traffic matters? what man force are we applying to correct the jaywalking that I see since I go to work on a daily basis at the same time, and I see it on Federal between Sunset, Clear Down Pass Park, jaywalkers walking like deer from the morning's bed to the watering holes. And they walk in between red lights. They walk anywhere they want. And I know that this is for their protection, but how are we going to enforce this, Your Honor?
Chief, any thoughts?
Sure. First, we need more officers. So we're working diligently to get more officers on staff. The second thing is that we respond to priority calls. For instance, this last week, there was complaints of, unfortunately, cars going around school buses with the flashing red lights. And
we have cameras on those school buses?
yeah, and there's already been some enforcement action. So, you know, we try to do between calls, try to prioritize where enforcement would be that have the biggest impact. So you'll see in the next few weeks us trying to provide that safety, especially for the school kids trying to cross and not get hit.
I'm wondering if we need to prioritize calls.
But we do.
Well, I think
civil matters. I held my tongue. Civil matters on real estate ownership is not up to our police officers. I'm sorry, but it's not. It's a civil matter. It's a he said, she said. It's litigation. It's for a judge in Lander, not our police officers.
Or in Riverton.
Or in Riverton. Well, we fill the courts in Lander with Riverton lawsuits. I've been one of them. And it is frustrating, but there is no discrimination on a dollar bill. It's green. I don't see any green people here, but money is money and civils is civil. And my question still remains, how are we going to enforce this? Is this going to be another Tim Hancock removal when we were reducing all of the burdensome that we had that 4 years ago on the books that were never enforced, nor tickets written?
Different things that we've removed through the years?
Yeah.
Your Honor, I think
Chief,
this
hold on.
addresses some situations where the police can have some ability to enforce something when somebody's out in the middle of Main Street blocking traffic and
They can't enforce it if they're not there.
Chief, let me ask you real quick. Is this something, I guess, is this something that our CSO would be able to assist with?
No.
They wouldn't be able to write citations. They could certainly take a person's name down, and a citation could be prepared by an officer if it was witnessed by a CSO, but.
Right. So a CSO may, for instance, if, and it's happened, somebody's having a medical emergency and they get out into the middle of the road, that'd be something a CSO would handle and determine if there's a criminal aspect versus a medical aspect. But for traffic enforcement, they're limited to just parking citations, towing vehicles where there's not that immediate hazard there.
Lieutenant, do you want to go ahead and come on up? Yeah. As the fourth newest member of the Riverton Police Department now.
Your Honor, Counsel, this evidence is anecdotal. Okay, so when I came here for my final interview and I went on a ride along, I'm riding with the sergeant and we're going down the street, and an intoxicated person came out in the middle of the street, and the sergeant stopped, waited for them to cross and go. And it wasn't as if they were incredibly intoxicated to the point that they needed to be hemmed up for that, which we did later on that day. But the point was, we're going to another call, and I'm like, hold on a second. Why aren't we stopping and taking care of that? And he goes, I don't have an ordinance to do it. And it's not pedestrian interfering with traffic. So it's those kind of situations, and I see it all the time when I'm out there with my officers, is that we observe these things and there's nothing we can do about it because you don't have the teeth in the law to back it up. Thank you.
Okay. And I guess that's another thing too, is that it's the idea of, it doesn't have to be necessarily that an officer is going out there specifically for enforcement of pedestrian jaywalking, but it can be, if they observe it, then they can actually act. Mr. Bailey?
And I guess that was my point, is I think it's another tool that the police department would have, so that when they catch somebody doing something, they can stop them. And I think we used to have a jaywalking, and I think they made us take it away because it was discriminatory or something, but you know how it is. But
Your Honor, I also think it helps with people that go through crosswalks without stopping, having an ordinance.
well, that's already against the law. Yeah, and this reinforces it. So again, it's actually going to punish the people that drive through an intersection if somebody was crossing at a crosswalk, and so they would have punishment for them too, which is even more dangerous than the crazy people that try to cross in the middle of the road. So,
Chief, I'm looking at 315603, right? This is crossing at other than crosswalks. This is the traffic statute, right? Wyoming statute. Every pedestrian crossing a roadway, which roadway is so broad in Wyoming statute that it's really just any publicly maintained road. So it doesn't have to be a highway, it's just publicly maintained. Crossing a roadway at a point other than within a marked crosswalk or within an unmarked crosswalk at an intersection shall yield the right-of-way to all vehicles upon the roadway, which looks kind of like what we have here.
mm-hmm.
I guess I'm just saying, it looks like we have a state statute on it. This looks like we're just trying to be able to basically have this be something we can write them into municipal court rather than writing them into circuit court.
And the definition of intersection is problematic because, for instance, I'll just use this example because everyone sees it. If you were going to, let's say the roadway, you're going to cross from here to McDonald's. I know people are like, can I do it? I need to go down to Sunset. Yeah, the way it sits now, you can cross here to the other side of Federal, and it's not against the law, unless another car is going to be so close you're going to get hit. Then the state statute would cover it. But what we want to do is, if we identify an area where, yeah, a lot of people are having all these nearbys, we can post no crossing from here, this point to this point, use the closest crosswalk. So we don't have people going across the street, especially when, we may get some accumulation of some white stuff here in the next couple of months, and it's kind of hard to see people and stop real fast. So we want to be able to prevent people getting hit.
Gotcha. All right. Anything else that we want to discuss? So you were concerned about the, let's see, I'm just looking. Driver of a vehicle shall yield. That's already, we said, this is just reiterating that. Oh, controlled intersection. Is that what you were talking about, Mr. Bailey?
I think it was explained, if we designate a stretch of road, that any intersection counts then, as opposed to on Bighorn Avenue where they're not marked and not controlled by a light or stop signs or anything else. So hopefully we're staying out of the weeds.
And so this is really just saying, if you're going to cross where there's not a crosswalk, you're yielding to vehicles, which I think sometimes people don't realize. They're like, oh, pedestrians have the right of way. No. You can't just walk out into the road and expect vehicles to stop for you. That's what we're talking about here. So you'd have to yield the right-of-way to all vehicles unless you're in a crosswalk, in which case you do have the right-of-way. And then if we're saying it's a specific location that you've designated, that's where you can't be crossing. Okay? Any other things we want to talk about? Lieutenant?
Just a quick definition. Thank you, Your Honor. Just a quick definition. When they're talking about when they're talking about unmarked crosswalks, by definition, that is any place where one road meets another. Doesn't have to be an intersection, anything else. So technically, what the chief was talking about there by McDonald's, when the road comes in, that is technically across federal. That's an unmarked crosswalk. By Wyoming law, they can walk across there unless we make it illegal.
Interesting point.
Thank you.
Even though that's a parking lot. I hear you. Okay.
Oh, but there's a street coming out that does not continue through.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks. Good call. Appreciate that, Lieutenant. All right. Well, anything else on this? We ready to vote? All right. All in favor of passage of ordinance 24006 on first reading, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. All right, we're at about 8:30. We've still got Oscar to go, a couple of bid awards. Let's just take a quick break. 10-minute recess. We'll come back here at, let's make it 9. Come back here at 8:50.
Your Honor, before you tonight, I have a bid award recommendation for one 4x4 UTV with an enclosed cabin heater. And during the preparation and adoption of the 2024-2025 budget, the Riverton City Council authorized the purchase of one new UTV with an enclosed cabin heater at the request of the Public Works Department. The Riverton City Council budgeted $27,000 for this total project. Wyoming state statute requires that the purchase of any vehicle be competitively bid. The bid was advertised beginning August 31st of 2024 and closed on September 12th of 2024, with the bid opening being held that same day. We received bids only from one company, with that bid being responsive. That bid was from Stokes Equipment for a total of $24,100. And staff proposes that the City of Riverton award this bid to Stokes Equipment in that amount of $24,100.
Curtis, did we get that fast enough? Thank you, Mr. Adcock. I'd entertain a motion to award the bid for the new 4x4 UTV with enclosed cabin heater to Stokes Equipment in the amount of $24,100 even.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Larson with the bid, Councilman Bailey with the second.
Your Honor, could you explain to us what we're going to be using that for?
Yes, so that is for the Parks Department, and we went with the enclosed cab so they can actually use it in the colder months. Without a cab on a UTV when they're doing some of their park work, it's really, really cold. So, and then in the future, if we decide to put a plow or something on that, it can be used all winter long, and that's why we opted to go with the enclosed cab with this unit.
And I guess that was what I was assuming, and I'm glad you asked, Councilman Bailey, because I know we had had some discussion 2 winters ago, about being able to plow on the rails to trails.
Correct.
And I think we had one piece of equipment that could do that, but I don't recall, and makes it a lot easier if you have a heater.
Yes, it certainly does. And we did take a plow truck from the building maintenance for the city hall a year or so ago as they got a new truck. So that's helped us a little bit with moving the long distances on the rails to trails and the Riverwalk, moving that snow. But the ATV is really good for smaller areas in the parks and things of that nature.
Gotcha.
So other than that, this is one of these little two-seaters with a cab with
Correct. It's
pickup
similar-
bed on the back to where you can
That is correct.
throw your tools and go out and do your thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what that is. Similar to what we have now, but with the older versions we have now, but we'll have a cab.
More sophisticated gator.
Correct.
One other thing, you can put tools in that puppy
Yes.
and you can go sprinklering, just because it can have a snowplow on. Does this come with a winch?
We did not do a winch on this particular one. We haven't had the need for that in the past, so we didn't put that in this time. We have two gators currently that we use for irrigation and other park duties, trimming, that sort of thing when you're traveling through the parks. So we've had them for some time.
No, I didn't mean it that way.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You said you were going to use it with a snowplow. Without a winch, you're going to have a difficult time of lifting that plow up.
Good point.
Yeah, and they have different versions of that. So we can, if we move to the snowplow at this point, we didn't do it now because we have that truck we got from the building maintenance department. But they can still use this UTV for many other functions throughout the year, even into the fall months.
Good deal. Well, I know Lane Davis looks like he's excited to drive it.
They're fun.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. I vote aye as well. Okay. Bid award, Smith Road Storm Drain Replacement Project.
Thank you.
Holman.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. In front of you are the bids that came from the storm drain replacement project. This was a section of drainage pipe. It was a reinforced concrete pipe that was found outside the right-of-way in the spring of 2023 that it collapsed. It was just underneath a major gas line, a high-pressure gas line. I believe it was the gas company that found that section too. So at that point in time, Dan's crew and then along with some members of the collection distribution department responded to the drain pipe collapse. It was found that a section of that could be replaced at the time, an emergency replacement, and then it could continue to run. But it also showed the larger problem that underneath the road, there was about another, about 100 feet, 80 to 100 feet that needed to be replaced. That's corrugated metal pipe underneath the road, and that pipe has about a life of about 50 years. It's fortunate that it was noticed on the east side of Smith Road where that pipe collapsed. That it was noticed that it needed to be replaced. So this fiscal year was put into the budget to replace that, the pipe in its entirety. Excuse me. Bids were sent out September 12th, August 24th for that replacement. They were received September 12th and read aloud at that time. 2 bids were received, one from Jerry Bornhoff Construction in the amount of $187,400. A second bid from Alexander Excavation in the amount of $140,596. Both bids were deemed responsive. The only issue, and what you see in front of you there, was that the budgeted amount was $125,500. A couple things that have conspired since that, had taken place, since that budget was made in March. The concrete industry changed a little bit in Riverton. Concrete became a little bit more expensive. Then also a little bit more emphasis was placed on the roadway itself. That was a road that's been in for 40 years. Section of concrete in that area is we're seeing very bad ASR reactivity. Alkali silica reactive concrete in that area, where it's just crumbling. So there was special intention made to bring this road up to a standard that it will pass the traffic that it will see, similar to like North Federal Boulevard. And with that came the additional cost. of about $15,096. It is recommended that the council, if you would award it for the $140,000 for the total amount, $140,596, then there is funds available in the general fund. This all comes from the general fund. Specifically, there was a recreation grant that wasn't awarded this year. That grant was $1.8 million with a city match that I believe was about 10%. So there are funds to cover this section, and then this would start the project for that roadway to begin to be repaired. There's about 5 really poor spots in that road. If we're able to fix this spot and then go to one poor spot, then we could down the road we could budget another project to fix the poor spots and keep that road in a condition that's passable and will work well. And that's Smith Road that I'm referring to as well. So I'll stand for questions, and that is the recognition before you here.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to award the bid for the Smith Road Storm Drain Replacement Project in the amount of $140,596 to Alexander Excavation, Inc.
So moved.
Councilman Bailey with the motion, Councilman Larson with the second. I'll start carrying a coin and just flip it every time to decide who gets what. Discussion. Are you saying that storm drains are a suitable replacement for pickleball courts? Is that what you're saying, Mr. Coleman?
No, please no. I do not go on the record. It was unfortunate the grant was not awarded. That was unfortunate.
It's my understanding, though, that Mr. Eggleston is still on the hunt for anything we can find to be able to replace that and be able to still get that project going. It just might not be this year.
Correct.
Okay. All right. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. Airport lease agreement, or are we ready with the Oscar 360? Should we do that now? Okay, let's do the Police Department Crime Scene Software Presentation, Oscar 360. Police Chief's report. I will just open with something real quick. In my former life as a prosecutor 2 weeks ago, I was able to see this presentation, and my immediate question was, is this something that these fine young detectives can show to the city council? Because this is pretty cool stuff, and I think it could come in quite handy with prosecution of crimes for Riverton, and just wanted to kind of show off something pretty cool that had been, and I guess whose brainchild was this? Detective Smith's, yours, or?
It was all of us.
All of you? Just kind of the brain trust put together and was like, hey, we need this.
Yep.
Good. Sorry, Chief. I didn't mean to steal your thunder. I just
Stole it anyway.
stole it anyway. Go ahead, Detective Smits.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, Council. So part of this last fiscal year, one of the capital projects that you guys had approved was for this Oscar 360. It's a 360-degree camera that we can use for any type of investigations within the police department. And one of the there's 3 main, I guess, purposes of the Oscar 360. And that's going to be to capture evidence, which is what is going to be the camera up here. And then to organize that evidence, and then to also present it for juries. So just kind of up in front of us here, what we have is the very top is going to be the camera. Essentially just has 2 kind of fisheye lenses, one on each side. And then it has a sensor tube, and obviously the tripod. And so those sync up. It has GPS, which then correlates and translates over to Google Maps. So they partner with Google Maps, and anytime we take an image, it'll drop a pin on Google Maps that you can see here. So just like with Google Maps, anything you can do, we have this map view. We can also go into satellite view if we want to. You can also go to street view with that little icon there. Also within here, one of the things that we can do is we can add an overlay. So if you can kind of see here in the middle, have a little bit of the floor plan that's added in.
So if that doesn't come, we can take an image of that, of any floor plan or drawing, and have an image of it, and we can overlay that onto a residence or school building, any type of building, anything that we want, and we can add that overlay. We can change transparency as to how much we want. We can add multiple overlays. So if we have an apartment complex, hotel, and we have an incident that correlates to multiple floors, we can then add in multiple overlays on that. And again, we can toggle between all those. So we can show all overlays, we could show one, we can show none. We can whatever we need to do to present that evidence. So kind of in preparation for this, went ahead and took a few images, which as you can recognize here. So one of the really nice things about this as part of that organizing evidence is this doesn't really take place of any other photographs that we're going to take. We're still going to take our photographs on scene. Within there, what we can do is what I kind of call is we can embed photos, we can embed videos, we can embed documents. Anything that the computer can play, we can embed in here. So we can look all around, and we can do 360 degrees. Directly below, obviously you're going to have the obscured vision from the tripod. But for the most part, you've got pretty much full range of view, everything you can see here.
And what are those blue icons then? Is that something you've embedded?
Yes, so for instance, we can embed photos. So if we had maybe an item of evidence or something, we could then pull that up. If we had photos like close-ups of any type of evidence, we can do that. Say if we had any other type of evidence hidden under seats in this general vicinity, we can have, again, we got a close-up photo, we could have that pulled up there.
I think Ernie needs to look underneath the seat.
So this one here, I will get back to this one, this last one here. Just play this one just real quick. So again, just a real quick snippet of body cam footage. We can do body cam footage. We'd be able to do video surveillance, any types of videos from there. So again, just a little quick shot from a body cam that we had. So if we need to play that, we can play that there. These arrows here, they will kind of travel around to the different images that you have. We can also go between different photographs, scans that we did through these arrows down here.
So this is a second photo then. It was taken from right here about?
Here.
Yep. So it's kind of directly on your seat. So kind of one thing, I mean, you could do kind of a point of view. So if we had maybe traffic accidents or something, we can place it, maybe in a vehicle on the seat and kind of get somebody's point of view more so than what a photo could. We can do that. Again, documents. So we can pull up any documents that we have, let's say maybe on coroner's report or autopsy reports, medical records, any type of documents, we can also kind of embed those.
And then, so if you were to press the forward arrow, would that take you back to the first picture that you were showing us? Is that
so in that kind of film strip, if you take these, that's going to go left. It's going to take you to the film strip prior.
I'm talking about the arrows that kind of look like what you have in Google Maps.
Google Maps,
Here.
yeah.
Okay. Yep. So they will, and it doesn't necessarily take you to like the very next one in the film strip. It's kind of, it bases it off of the directionality.
Right.
And so here, if I click that one, it takes us to the first.
That makes sense.
First image.
And then that arrow would take
So
you
it's not a
back.
steering mechanism like it is on Google Maps.
Right. No.
Yeah.
But it feels like it. I mean,
Yeah.
as you look at it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So with that, as you can kind of see over here on the side, so again, with that sensor tube, with the directionality, so this kind of shows you which direction. So as we're looking here, The arrow right here is going to be showing you which direction you're facing. So as you turn around, that arrow also moves around with you to point out which direction that you're facing on there.
Let me guess, do you have pictures of everybody embedded there? Yep. Sure enough, I thought it was going to be a mug shot.
Tried to get Facebook photos.
So you can do multiple photos on there.
Picture, do it all mugshots. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
One other, besides just evidence and for crime, stuff like that, one thing that we're going to look at doing is kind of for emergency planning, taking it through schools and be able to do, you know, a scan basically of the entire school. Any office buildings, classrooms, restrooms, anything like that. We could identify points of entry, exit, windows. You know, we could put down teachers, we can add their photos on there. So if we have some type of major incident, if we have time or something, we could certainly look this up and we can see, you know, who's maybe responsible for that room, who we're looking for, you know, who are the good guys. Training, we have a, you know, special response team we're looking to get back up. They can kind of go through planning without being able to go through the schools. They can kind of use this and utilize that for some planning. So
I could see this coming in handy with search warrants too, especially with DCI. They tend to try to make sure that they have a very good pre-search warrant meeting where they kind of go where everything is, who you're talking about. This could be a pretty good tool there.
The police department does as well. Pre-briefs are very important in all law enforcement just for safety measures and so everybody knows what they're going into. I would agree. Multiple agencies could access this.
To me, the detail that it gives you of that room compared to you taking photographs, you know, 10 photographs of a room, you take that picture where you can go back in and move and scan and everything ties together, as opposed to those photographs you'd go, oh, I missed this little corner or something. So I would guess it'd give you a lot more detail.
It also helps us out. If I am taking a bunch of pictures of a room this size, now I have to keep in track in my head, where have I missed or where have I gotten? So this helps out quite a bit.
Yeah.
and kind of based off that point there, this is kind of to show how we would have, you know, processed, I guess, a crime scene, taking photographs. So again, with having just one digital scan here that anybody can see, the prosecutors, the jury, to really get a feel for that scene. Otherwise, what we would have had to do is go through, you know, individual photos. And so as you're taking each individual photo, you know, we try to overlap approximately 10% between the two photographs so you can follow that transition. But as you can see, it doesn't really get any of the ceiling. It doesn't really get any of the floor. And so a lot of places where you have furniture, you have stuff on the floor, in order to see in relation to where all those items are at, it's difficult to see that. So before we'd have to go through and explain, you know, which way are we facing? Okay, where are you taking this picture from? Which direction are you facing? You know, and explain each and every photo. And using the Oscar 360, they can really get a good feel for where they're at.
Yeah, that's cool.
But then you can still use them together because you can be having this photograph that does help you really just focus in on this location. Right, even there, if you had some bit of evidence there, but then being able to have the bigger location to see it in context. That's pretty good. And you could, if you wanted to, for example, with those photos there, you could embed them at those places where you took the photos then.
Absolutely.
So that it gives you that idea of where it was taken in the room. Cool.
Your Honor, I hate to burst your bubble, but this process has been in the real estate market for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, your virtual walkthroughs basically is this same technology being used for a different purpose, but it's a neat application of it.
It's proven. Yeah. It's rock solid.
Yeah.
Are we going to rent this out to real estate agents?
It's always an option.
For a nominal fee. What's that?
Drones have also been used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the same field, so.
Well, and I mean, I agree with Councilman Larson. It's just, we haven't had it.
It's
So
good
it's
stuff.
been pretty handy.
Yeah, it's,
Oh, I'm very curious how the outside will look. Wow. Could you zoom and enhance? No, I'm just kidding.
It does have a little bit of zoom that we can do.
CSI always has that. Like, zoom into that guy's eye there, and then
Enhance it.
we can see a reflection of the car, and zoom into that license plate. We can see what the license plate is.
in 5-minute DNA results.
Yeah.
3D models.
No, that's the majority of what it can do. There are a few other little things. It's just kind of to make it more specific, but that's kind of Oscar 360.
Well, thank you.
Any questions? Are there questions on it?
Defense attorneys, I mean, got a different hat I wear now. If you were to prepare this and have it be something where would be discovery for the other attorneys in a case, if I understand right, they'd get like a disc or something like that that would have the program kind of, but not something that they can edit. It's just basically to view it, if that's
Correct.
my understanding.
Yep.
Your Honor, I just want to input. It's, you know, we've been talking the last couple of years of trying to modernize police work and make it more efficient. And like it was mentioned, the technology's been out there, not only citations, MDTs, but evidence collection. And for our case officer that's presenting something to a jury, it's all about telling a story and putting it in so a jury can feel at the scene of a crime and understand what the case agents are presenting. So I commend Sergeant Smith and Detective McCall for bringing this up and using the existing technology to where we can use it for police work.
That's great.
Yeah,
The
it's
brain
awesome.
trust. Yeah, well, thank you, and thanks for presenting on it.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for, like I said, approving it for this last fiscal year. And I would definitely open it up to, any other departments if they see, a use for this in anything that they do. We'd certainly, offer that up. I guess lastly, real quick, may just mention, so right now what we do have is we only have one license to where we can edit the images and embed them and do all that. So as of right now, that is this laptop that we use. And so instead of on a desktop, that's why we have it for this laptop. So it's at least mobile. We can use in different locations. As we use it, that may be something we may look at in the future, is getting more of a floating license to where, each detective can use it in their office, or officers can use it out in the squad room. If other departments can use it, they can, use it over in their office or anything like that. So that is one thing that down the road we may be looking at.
Good.
About how much does that cost?
I believe it's about an extra $1,500, $2,000 for the floating license.
And then how much was the camera itself?
So between the camera itself and just the one license was a little over $10,000. I don't remember specifically which one. One was a little over $5,000. The other one was just a little under $5,000.
Well, the
So
4x4 was saved $3,000.
might not be something we rent out to real estate agents then.
Yeah.
We gotta hire.
I know my son said it was very expensive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe with the $10,000 deposit. All right, well, thanks, appreciate it, detectives.
Yes.
Thanks for showing us that, putting it through its paces a little bit.
One of these days, every officer will have one of those on his helmet, and then you'll just get this 360 view of everything you do. Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'll just follow you, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Airport lease agreement, Hudson Holdings LLC.
Yes, Your Honor, I'll present this this evening.
Thank you.
Before you tonight is a airport terminal vending machine concessionaire lease agreement. The recommendation is that the Riverton City Council approve the lease agreement for the 9 square foot of space in a secure holding area room located at the Central Wyoming Regional Airport to Mick Pryor, principal of Hudson Holding LLC, for the installation of a snack and drink vending machine. On July 30th of 2024, the airport division manager was contacted by Mick Pryor about the possibility of leasing floor space in the secure holding area for the installation of a vending machine that would serve snack items and specialty beverages for passengers post-screening. Admiral Beverage currently has a lease for Pepsi products in the holding room, but there are no other options for snacks or specialty beverages in that area currently. A location has been identified for the vending machine in the corner of the room that will have no impact on seating, as the space is currently occupied by a decorative plant that can easily be removed. There is also an electrical outlet close by for power that is not being used. As the council will recall, the Rise and Shine Cafe does currently have a lease for floor space in the holding area to provide breakfast options for travelers, but finding staff to establish that part of the business has been a challenge. Recently, the operator stated they are committed to providing service to the area, especially since they are paying for it, but that they need to focus necessity on focusing on building a consistent staff for the main restaurant first. The addition of the vending machine in this area would aid in providing travelers alternative choices for snacks and beverages. The snack vending machine that was in the main hall of the terminal has been removed recently by the owner, and the owner stated that he no longer will provide vending services. This would create a future opportunity for another vendor to occupy that area as well. In line with the current lease agreement, the vending machine concessions with Admiral Beverages, this lease also calls for a 10% concession fee of gross sales from the products offered, less the exclusions outlined in the lease. Since a baseline for food and specialty beverages has not been established by previous vendors in the secure holding area, the economic impact of sales of such products has not been determined to date. For a reference comparison to vending machine sales of Pepsi products in that area, the concession fee has generated a net revenue to the airport of approximately $100 per month.
Better than a kick in the pants. Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve the lease agreement for the 9 square feet of space in the secure area holding room located at Central Wyoming Regional Airport to Hudson Holdings LLC for the installation of a snack and drink vending machine.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Bailey, second by Councilman Larson. Discussion. I have a quick question. In terms of space available, if we were to, this still leaves space that Rise and Shine could use. Am I correct?
I believe you are correct. I'm not fully versed on this one. I didn't have a lot of time to review this before the gentleman that was going to present had to leave. So I really don't want to say something I'm not sure of.
I'm just thinking of 9 foot square.
But there's currently a plant there.
Yep.
Well, we can move.
And then we're going to save on water because you don't have to water the plant.
Was it a living plant?
Decorative plant. Probably silk.
Yeah. I guess I'm just thinking if, you know, I certainly wouldn't want to get involved in a lease if it means that if Rise and Shine gets things figured out, we're not going to have the space. But I mean, I was just there last week and I'm certain we'd have the space.
9 square feet is fairly small, so I'd assume we would have space, yes.
It's about the size of a vending machine.
Yeah, about that.
Okay. Anything else? Displacing a plant?
Or a vending machine.
All right.
Rent's going up.
What's the song about parking lot? Save paradise and put up a parking lot? Is that?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 I vote aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. We don't have any executive session planned tonight, do we, Ms. Harris?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor.
Not to my knowledge either. Let's just go with that collective knowledge, and I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Larson with the motion, Councilman Bailey with the second. All in favor, say aye.
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 I vote aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Meeting stands adjourned at 9:26 PM.